guys,
welcome back to our channel. And today we're making
President's Day sugar cookies. Before we dive into these delicious sugar cookies, let's talk about President's Day. What is President's Day actually about? President's Day began in February 17, 1879, and it was actually called George Washington's birthday, where Americans would celebrate the first president's birthday. It's not just a day where we celebrate George Washington's birthday. It is a day where we honor presidents past and present. Let's get into this and make these delicious, easy sugar cookies for President's Day. You'll need 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of white sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 egg, 1 stick of butter at room temperature. Things that you'll also need is 1 hand mixer, 1 spatula, 3 piping bags, 1 cookie cutter, and toothpicks.
No matter your age, this is a recipe that even a young baker can master.
The first thing that you're going to want to have is your stand mixer, and make sure you have your butter and eggs to room temperature. So the first thing that we're going to do is cream our butter and sugar. So we are going to add in 1 whole stick of butter. And now you're going to beat this on medium-low speed just till combined. And now we are going to add in 1 cup of white sugar. Okay. So as your butter and sugar is beating, you want to make sure that you do not overbeat the butter and sugar, or you're going to get this thin, chewy cookie. We want our cookies to be nice and thick with a chewy inside.
Now that we have creamed our butter and sugar, we are now going to whisk our 1 egg for 1 minute. Now we're going to add our vanilla extract. We are looking for a light and creamy consistency, and this is done.
This next step is very important as we add in our flour. You need to make sure you gradually add it in slowly as your mixer is going off. We just want to add our flour nice and slowly. Don't rush. If you add this in too fast, this will get lumpy and clumpy, and we don't want that. It's medium-high speed. And just slowly add in this. Slowly, we're just going to add in our flour so we can get our batter. As this is beating, we're going to add in our salt and let that beat for a few minutes. I love baking for the holidays because it's an easy, affordable way to enjoy baked goods with your family.
Baking is a great way to show your artistic abilities and creativity.
Man, I really hope our brothers don't eat all these cookies.
Yes, I know, right? Especially Belle. She doesn't know when to get enough cookies. Okay, the next step is to take our cookie dough and wrap it. This step is very crucial. If we do not put our cookies in the fridge, when it comes time to bake them, they will lose their texture and their shape.
Tell me about it. As an experienced baker, I've made plenty batches of failed sugar cookies. They lose their shape and texture, and they are disgusting. Let's wrap this. So we're just going to take our cookie dough out of the bowl. We're going to take out of this bowl, and we are going to apply it on the parchment paper. You can use your spatula to help you get it out. We need to get even the smallest crumbs because we don't want any calories left behind here. So you want to make sure you flatten this into a disc shape so when you try to roll it out, it won't be too crumbly. Our next step is we're going to put this in the fridge for at least an hour. One thing that you want to remember as you cook is to keep a nice and clean kitchen. If you don't wash your dishes as you're cooking or just don't forget to clean your counters, you will end up having a big mess at the end to clean. So keep that in mind. You'll need 3 cups of confectionery sugar, 2 teaspoons of light corn syrup, 5 tablespoons of water, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, blue and red gel food coloring.
The next thing we're going to make for our sugar cookies is the icing. You will need confectionery sugar, water, pure vanilla extract, and light corn syrup. Confectionery for sugar first. pure vanilla extract, light corn syrup. The next step is to mix our confectioning sugar. This step is very important. You need to make sure you mix your confectioning sugar, but also add the water at the same time, very slowly.
To mix these ingredients together, you don't have to use a hand mixer. You can use a whisk, a spatula, or a stand mixer. How's that looking?
Great. Hope it'll be enough.
Since this recipe makes 20 cookies, you might have to add or subtract depending on the size of your family. The next part is to color our frosting. I recommend using Walton's Royal Blue because it is a gel-based dye. Liquid dyes that you can find at the store won't get it as a bright, vibrant color. So to dye this, I'm just going to use a toothpick, like so. So I'm just going to be using just a little bit. Okay, so that should be good. Another thing you want to have on hand is a Q-tip. This can help for putting the frosting in there, because especially if the Waltons, it's in a can, so you can't just squirt it out. But anything will work, a spoon or a fork, but I recommend using a Q-tip. For this next step, I'm going to show you how to transfer your icing to the piping bag. So you want to have a thin cup or a skinny cup or something, any cup will work that's tall, and you're going to transfer your piping bag into the cup, and now you're going to stretch it until it opens a hole, just like that. If you can find these piping bags at Publix, Wegmans, or Walmart, they have the tip already on there, so it'll make your job nice and easy. So now we are going to transfer with our spoon our icing into the piping bag. Just like that. Make sure you get every bit out. Not a drop left behind. Things to be careful of. Make sure you try to avoid excess frosting on the edges because it can get messy pulling it up. Make sure you didn't cut your tip yet. If the tip is already cut open, frosting will start leaking from the bottom of your tip, so keep that in mind. And just try to stay very neat at this point because you want to make sure you get every bit out. Another tip that I recommend is putting your frosting in a cup, so by the time you use them, all of the frosting has went to the tips and you cut it open and they'll be nice and ready to use. Now that the dough has been refrigerated for an hour, we preheated our oven to 350 and now we're going to start by cutting out our cookies. So now before we start rolling out, I'm going to put a little flour on my silicone mat, just like that. If you don't put flour on your mat, your dough will start sticking as you roll it with a rolling pin. And even a little tip, sprinkle a little flour on your rolling pin as well so your rolling pin doesn't stick as you roll. Then it should be nice and easy. It will be a bit crumbly, but that's okay. And we're just going to roll it out till we get a good side cutter. I'm going to press down and just wiggle a little bit on it till you feel it that it will come off. Down really hard. Scoop this down. and press down. And now I'm going to remove all of the excess dough. Another thing I recommend having is using your spatula. Then we're just going to place our cookies onto our pan. Okay. Another thing you want to do is make sure you have your pan ready with parchment paper to place your cookies onto. And there it is. It's that simple.
Now we're going to make the square cookies. We're going to take our roller and roll out our dough. So for this, to make your square cookies, you can use a square cookie cutter or you can use a cake spatula. And there you have it, our nice square cookie.
The cookies are done. If you have a baking rack, this is the time to use that. And if you don't, you can use a plate or just keep them on the pan, but a baking rack is recommended. I've let my cookies cool for at least 10 minutes and now we're getting ready to ice them. This part can be a little tricky, so things that I would like to have around are these piping bags. I can cut the tip to a certain thickness that I need, and I like to have some toothpicks as well. So let's begin. Another thing that I recommend, as soon as you put on your first coat of white, you want this to dry just for like 20 seconds or so, and this is a corn syrup glaze frosting, so it's going to get a skin pretty quick. After all of our hard work, we finally finished these delicious cookies for President's Day. Let's see how they taste.
Two thumbs up.
Happy President's Day!